Welcome to Almost Functional Gaming. We aim to help all followers of Russ and the Allfather to improve on the tabletop. List building, tournament recaps, unit reviews, weekly council of the Fang, and other tips to help us all go from almost functional to fully functional. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, check out our merch store and Almost Functional score tracker on Amazon.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Almost Functional 40K. Here again with Aiden.
What's up, fellow Wolf Lords? How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing good. Yeah, and for those who are wondering, we're swapped on sides because Aiden actually beat me into the stream thing tonight.
I know, early bird gets the worm, so
That's
I'm
right.
here for it. Here to talk Wolves. What we got going on today?
Well, that kind of reveals it. But we're going to be finishing up the detachments that we have for Wolves. So tonight we're doing Gladius and Saga the Hunter, which will, Librarius isn't released yet, but I did that video the other day. That'll come out Friday. But these are the last two detachments we have to make the video for. And then we'll have done a video for a list for every detachment available to Space Wolves.
Yeah, I'm excited for these detachments. They're both kind of all-rounders. Yeah, it's good to see Hogfather, Brian, Dwarum. Everybody's joining in. Mike as well. Yeah, we got a lot of people from Germany and from Australia that tune in. A lot of Wolf players around the globe, which is pretty dope.
That's cool. Yeah, it's like awesome that we can have people from all over the world listen to us ramble and act like we know what we're doing.
Yeah, act like we know what we're doing. So, how do we feel about these detachments?
I think, Gladius, I think, is going to be one of the best. It's one of the best for really any Marine faction. It's just
all-rounder.
It has pretty much every tool you need. It's not great at anything, but it's pretty good at everything.
Exactly. Yeah, so you could really go one of 1,000 different ways. I feel like Hunter is quite powerful in the right hands. It adds a good amount of buffs. It adds a good amount of movement, and two things that we really like on Wolves.
Yeah, it just requires a little more planning on how to get the army rules up and running because you don't just naturally get them.
Yeah. I mean, before we dive into it, let's mention we've got T-minus 4 days until the new Wolves are legal.
Yes.
But it sounds like you have an event going on before that.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to the ATC team tournament this weekend, and it's Old Wolves. We missed the cutoff by a week, so I'll be on Old Wolves till Sunday. I had to turn the updates off in my app, so my app won't even be updated till Sunday afternoon. But then I'm all in on New Wolves.
Yeah. I mean, Old Wolves are still fun. We've had rules for New Wolves for like a couple months now, and we haven't been able to play them. So I'm excited. New models look great.
Yeah. Last run of the Thunderwolf characters.
Yeah. Some cool-ass conversions you can do with Thunderwolf characters.
Yeah. Last run of the Blood Surges.
The Blood Surges, the Lethals, the Logan Chariot.
Oh, yeah, Champions of Russ. Last run of Champions of Russ. So that'll be sad.
New character models are great. I just pre-ordered Logan and 5 Terminators. I'm going to pick them up and paint them.
Yeah, I won't be able to get mine till Tuesday because I'll be driving back Monday, but my local store is holding them for me. So
cool.
Yeah. But all right. Well, that being said, you ready to jump into this?
I'm ready to jump into it.
All right. So we're going to start off with Saga of the Hunter.
Do you want to read the rules or should I?
I can read it. I got it right here.
Perfect.
So the detachment rule is Pax Quarry. Each time a model in a Space Wolf unit from your army makes a melee attack that targets an enemy unit, if that enemy unit is within engagement range of 1 or more Adeptus Astartes units from your army, or if the attacking unit contains more models than that enemy unit, add 1 to the hit roll. If your saga is completed, add 1 to the wound roll as well. And the way you complete the saga is by killing units in combat. So in Strike Force, you have to kill 3 units in combat before it triggers.
Okay. This is the easiest saga to complete. Kill 3 units in melee. That's something we want to be doing anyway. So, yeah. How do you feel about this saga, like as far as sagas go between all 3?
It's the second best one. Beast Slayer is the best one. Bold is okay, but it's like the weirdest one to get up.
Yep.
This one is fine. You just have to tech into big units, or just make sure you have run the buddy system, so you're always tag teaming to get it up.
Yeah, definitely.
So it takes a little more thought, deployment and movement, where you're charging to set things up to get the bonus, but it isn't the hardest thing in the world to do. You just have to plan for it.
Yeah, and honestly, using the Saga is a little bit interesting. You have to outnumber your opponent or have 2 units in combat with your opponent, which is it's pretty easy to set up on your turn, situational on your opponent's turn.
Yep. So then we have the enhancements. The first one is Swift Hunter, Space Wolf model only. Model in the Bears unit have the Scout 7-inch.
Always good.
Yep. We have Fenrisian Grit. That's the Astartes model only. The bearer has a Feel No Pain 4+.
Also is good on a number of characters.
Yep. We have Wolf Master, Space Wolf model only. In your command phase, select one friendly Space Wolf unit within 9 inches of the bearer. Till the start of your next command phase, Teeth and Claws and Tyrnak and Fenrir weapons have lethal. I don't think that's a great one.
Nope.
Feral Rage, Adept of Astartes model only. Add 1 to the attack characteristics of melee weapons equipped by the bearer. Each time the bearer ends a charge move until the end of the turn, add an additional 1 to the attack characteristics of those weapons.
Some solid enhancements, nothing crazy.
Yep. So then our strats are Envelop and Ensnare. Fight phase, 1 Space Wolf unit, excluding monsters or vehicles from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes the pile-in or consolidation move, it can move up to 6 inches instead of 3. When doing so, it does not need to end that move closer to the closest enemy model, provides it ends that move as close as possible to the closest enemy unit.
6-inch pile consolidate, really good. Yep.
And that can go toward the closest unit, not model, so there can be some shenanigans there if you set it up right for getting onto objectives, or tagging a fight first unit that you didn't actually charge. Like, if you can set that up, you can do some weird stuff with that.
Mm-hmm.
We have Territorial Advantage. Fight phase, just after enemy unit is destroyed by an Adept Astartes unit from your army. Select 1 objective marker you control that your unit is within range of. That objective marker remains under your control, so your opponent's level of control over the objective marker is greater than yours at the end of any phase.
Sticky objectives when you kill something. It's an okay timing. It's a pretty okay strat. Yeah.
What is if you run in and kill something, now they can't just shoot you off it. They actually have to come touch it.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Then we have Overwhelming Onslaught. Fight phase, just after enemy unit has selected its target. 2 Adept Astartes units from your army within engagement range of that enemy unit, or 1 Space Wolf's Beast unit from your army within engagement range of that unit. Till the end of the phase, each time a model in that enemy unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So you can give the opponent -1 to hit, but it has to be a beast unit, or you have to have 2 units engaged with it.
Yeah, that's an okay strat.
Yep. If it didn't have the 2-unit caveat, that'd be a really good strat.
-1 to hit all the time would be good.
Yep. Chosen Prey, your movement phase, just after a Space Wolf unit from your army falls back, that unit. To then in turn, your unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in the turn in which it fell back. This is nice because we don't have a lot of, well, we will when we do Gladius, but in a lot of our detachments, we don't have access to fallback and charge.
Yeah, this is an amazing strat. I wish every detachment had this.
Yep. Bounding Advance, 1 Space Wolf Infantry or Space Wolf's Beast unit from your army that has not been selected to move or declare a charge. Till the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes a normal, advance, fallback, or charge move, it can move through models, excluding Titanic. When doing so, it can move within engagement range of enemy models, but unless it is making a charge move, it cannot end that move within engagement range.
Wow.
So basically lets you jump over screens with pretty much anything except Thunderwolves or vehicles.
Yes, except Thunderwolves. That's Beastslayer. Beastslayer lets you do that. I don't know why.
Beastslayer gives it to them specific. Yeah, Beastslayer gives it to them specifically. This one gives it to everybody else, but it doesn't do ruins. But this is mostly infantry and beasts. They already go through ruins, so they don't need that part of the rule anyway. The last one is Marked for Destruction. Your shooting phase, 2 Adept Astartes unit from your army, excluding beasts, that have not been selected to shoot this phase. Select 1 enemy unit visible to both of your units. Till the end of the phase, model in your unit can only target that enemy unit, and only if it is an eligible target. Each time a model in one of your units makes an attack, reroll a wound roll of 1.
That one's actually pretty decent. I feel like it's kind of a bit of a hoop to jump through.
Yeah, but it's shooting only, so
shooting only.
basically, if you want to shoot both your predators or something, like you're fighting knights or something, and you really want to kill that one thing.
What I think really likes this is a thunder strike with something else.
Yeah,
because then you get +1 to wound, reroll ones to wound.
Yeah, so Repulsor, something with lots of attacks.
Repulsor, Executioner, and a thunder strike could be a really good combo for that. But
yeah,
anyway, some solid strats.
Oh yeah. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and switch over to that detachment in here.
Mm-hmm.
That is Saga of the Hunter.
I think I played this Saga, I think 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. I haven't actually put it on the table yet, but I have thoughts on it.
Tell me your thoughts. What are you starting with?
All right. Well, like most things, we're starting with Logan.
Yeah. Is this a CP heavy detachment? Do you think you include Bjorn?
That's the thing I was just about to mention. All the strats are 1 CP.
Yep.
All of them are okay. So this could possibly be a detachment where we just rely on CP discipline and not wasting it on stuff we don't need, and dropping Bjorn, because this list really wants you to have multiple units going to the same thing. So I think it's really big units. So Bjorn sitting in your backfield takes away from that a little bit. But if something did get behind you, he could charge in with your infiltrators, whatever you have back there, and then he gets the bonuses. But he's been in almost every list, so we're going to do this one without Bjorn, but you could easily put Bjorn in here.
Totally.
All right, so that being said, we're going to go down here and give him a Wolfguard unit.
He's always better with a Wolfguard unit.
Just keeps him alive. Yep.
His biggest benefit is just being a really tough Vectora that can take up space early in the game. Oh,
absolutely.
So I love him with Wolf unit. I mean, there's always an argument for running him solo, but the Wolf unit just adds so much to his beef.
And then we got the Swift Hunter, which I really want to put in here, and then the Feral Rage, which I think is pretty good.
Do it. So throw him in there.
I normally run Ragnar. I'm going to leave Ragnar out of this list.
Ooh, interesting.
Which leaves me down an advance and charge unit that I normally have.
Right.
But that's normally for a unit I YOLO out by itself, which doesn't really play into this army rule. This would be more about a more patient. This is the Hunter. It's more about stalking, sending multiple units in. So you're maybe not going to send something out turn 1 to go just out by itself with no support.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to take a Wolf Priest and a Battle Leader.
Both very solid units in this.
Yep. So the Battle Leader, we will give the Storm Shield and Thunderhammer. All right, he's already got that.
Thunderhammer is good because you get to +1 to hit automatically, almost.
Yep. And then we're going to give him the Feral Rage. So he's +1 attack, and if he charges, he's +2 attacks.
So let's think about this. He's 7 attacks at 8, 2 dev wounds, hitting on 2s, rolling 1 sustained with his unit.
Possibly +1 to hit, +1 to wound.
Possibly +1 hit, +1 to wound.
Yep. I really like that.
Yes.
And then on the Wolf Priest, I'm going to give him, was it Swift Hunter? Yep, we're going to give him the 7-inch Scout.
Very solid.
So
who are these units going with?
They're both going to be running with a Head Taker squad.
Okay.
Boom. All right, so Head Takers. We're going to go double Head Taker. And we're going to run 6-mans. And we're going to run shields.
Shields for durability. Yeah.
That's the way I like to play. I've seen people run the paired, and then just like I've seen people run the Wolfen without the shields, and then sometimes something hits them and they just go down way too easy, and I'm like,
way too fast. I think if you're running 3-mans, I would prefer paired because 3-man with an emblem is like not that much more durable.
Yes, because that's more of a disposable unit. But if you're buying 6, you're wanting them to stick around. And I'm going to put them in Impulsors.
Impulsors are great.
For 2 reasons. 1, it protects them. And 2, when they get out of it and charge, it can be their second unit. So that they can get the buff for having 2 units in. And the scout unit, their Impulsor, since it's a dedicated transport, will be able to scout the 7 inches.
Okay, solid.
So now we have a scouting Impulsor and a regular Impulsor, both full of head takers. Now what I want to take is a squad of Thunderwolves.
Yep. Can I pitch one or skirmish unit here?
Yes.
I think Thunderwolves are always great. You take 1 or 2 of them in almost every list. They're just incredible. However, I'm thinking of a unit that goes fast, goes through walls, reliably kills stuff, or skirmish units really early on with a lot of attacks. I think you could make an argument for regular Wolfen without shields, just 1 squad of 5. And here's what I'm thinking. You want stuff to get your Saga really early. So you want to throw up like medium, cheap units to just kill stuff in melee. This unit, I think, excels more than anything at getting out early. It moves fast. It's really reliable, even without Oath, because you're hitting on, you have 15 attacks, you roll 1 sustained, but you're probably going to get +1 to hit. So 15 attacks hitting on 2s, you're rolling 1 sustained at 5-2-2. And then you can also pile and consolidate 6 to go tag something that doesn't want to get tagged, and then they have a fallback trap.
Yeah.
So I think you can make an argument for 1 or 2 units of 5 to really bump up your Saga really early on.
The only problem with that, them being 5-mans, most skirmish units that they're going to hit are going to be
too.
5 or more. So
Good
they're not
point.
going to get the buff, but hopefully most skirmish units, if that's really the only thing you're sending them into, you can Oath it. They should hopefully be able to kill most skirmish units without the buff, but you just have to figure you're probably not going to have the buff if you're using them to go kill their early skirmish units.
Yeah. I say 1 or 2, like you want to get the Saga up early, so like a couple cheap skirmish units might be pretty good.
Yeah. All right, we'll take 1 for now. We'll see where the points lie.
Yeah, perfect.
Because we're going to take an infiltrator and a scout, just because I always like to start there. Sometimes, depending on points, we'll turn that infiltrator back into an intercessor if we need a couple points here or there. But I like to have those options in to start. I'm going to put Logan as Warlord just to get rid of that red thing. All right, so now we have almost 700 points left. We definitely want at least 1 Iron Priest. Oops, not epic. So we'll start with 1, see where that takes us. A lot of good wolf lifts. You'll put 2 in, and we didn't take Bjorn. So we'll see if we have the points for a second combo. We're going to give him a Predator.
Yep. And honestly, the cool thing about Hunter is the Iron Priest always runs with the Predator. You don't have to be able to shoot to do the stratagem where 2 things see 1 and reroll 1s.
Correct.
So you can have the Iron Priest running with a Predator lone op. He can advance or he can do an action and still do the strat so the Predator can reroll 1s to wound, which is kind of cool.
All right, so now we got 500 points. We got the Thunderwolves, who are there to skirmish and hopefully potentially be the second unit with Logan's squad.
Yep.
The Impulsors will be the second units for the head takers most of the time. So we got 3 units that can tag team with each other and score or get our detachment rule up. If for some reason someone gets into the Predator, the Iron Priest can get in there. He gets bonuses when they're fighting a vehicle, and now he'll get the bonus for the detachment rule.
So it's pretty good. I like Iron Priest with like just late game when you've got your Saga up turn 2 or 3 onward, and then you charge a vehicle and them, or something charges a vehicle and they heroic. They get +1 to hit and wound with reroll wounds. So it's like all of a sudden they're hitting really hard. Yeah.
I've had pretty good success running 3 solid combat bricks, which is kind of what we have here already.
Right.
And so we only have so my thought is, do I buff up the shooting behind those bricks? Do we add a 4th brick?
I think this attachment really buffs melee. I really do think this is a melee
all the attachments
hit and wound. Like as soon as turn 2 or 3 hits and you've killed 3 units, not that hard. Your whole army gets +1 hit and wound. So I think you really want to pump the melee damage in this attachment.
All right, so we got double head taker. Do we want to go Arjac and Terminators?
I think Arjac and Terminators could be really great because they would get +1 hit and wound. They're fight on death with +1 hit and wound.
Oh, yeah. All right, so we're going to throw in Arjac. Boom. And then we will duplicate this Terminator squad. And now we can do one of the things I like to do, which is deep strike 1 turn 1, deep strike 1 turn 2.
A rapid ingress turn 2,
yep.
and then send them both.
Yep. All right. So I'm normally super aggressive with them. So at this point, we could do something like try to get another Thunderwolf squad or something fast that could run up, another Wolfen squad, or a second scout squad that's basically a sacrificial tag team with Arjac.
Yeah.
But Arjac and them hit. Is it worth wasting points to give a sacrificial to give them +1 to hit?
Right. Yeah. I would think. I'm kind of curious. I'm thinking about other units that might bump up the Saga really early. 3-man head takers come to mind with a. I like 3-man head takers with a battle leader in this detachment. They'll be hitting on 2s, rerolling, and you can take their hunting wolves, which can help you charge into units to get the bonus off.
Yep.
So I wouldn't hate another 3-man head takers with hunting wolves and paired weapons with the Wolfguard battle leader in here. They'll just be another, maybe they get sent out early on the Impulsor. They send out early to get you 1 or 2 kills. They're very solid in this attachment too.
Yeah. What are we thinking about the second Predator in Iron Priest?
I definitely think 2 Predators is a must, for sure.
So we'll duplicate that first. That takes us to next. So now we got 100 points.
Oh, look who it is. Space Wolf Dan. You guys might recognize him.
Yeah, it's the champion of Fenrir.
It's good to see you, man.
Yeah.
We got to have him on one of these days. He's got to join the council of the Fang.
They keep him so busy over there, but our schedules don't line up a lot. But Dan knows anytime he's available, he's got a sitting invite to join the show.
Yeah, he's a great player.
Let me know. Any Tuesday he's free. He just has to say, "Hey, I'm free," and he's in.
Yeah. All right, so we got 2 Predators. We got some shooting. We've got a good amount of melee. What do you think we want to throw in here last?
All right, so we got that 100 points. So we were looking at a second unit, our unit to try to get up to help Arjac. And then we want to do that. So we take the second Thunderwolf squad, which puts us at 2,000 exactly. If we take the head take, because we can't take head takers and 3 wolves is 110.
110, can't do that.
And then they wouldn't have a character. So taking the second Predator eliminates that. We could take the second Iron Priest and a unit of Fenrisian wolves. That's 100. Take another Infiltrator. I don't think we need to.
2 Iron Priests isn't really necessary with 2 Predators. You're kind of layering your Predators near your Iron Priest.
All right, so what are you thinking? Another Thunderwolf? What else can we do at 100 points?
I would say a Thunderwolf squad, you could not go wrong. I mean, it's stereotypical that almost every Space Wolf list that we write has at least 2 Thunderwolf squad 3-mans, but they're just so incredible for their role.
And in certain situations, we could keep the Termies back and have the 2 Thunderwolves buff each other.
Yeah, I really like 2x5 Terminators in this with the leaders, because they'll probably go out mid to late game. They get +1 to hit and wound. Those Terminators with just +1 to hit and wound, fall back and charge, they get really scary.
Oh, yeah.
Arjac with +1 to hit and wound, reroll hits and wounds all the time, fight on death.
And once we've committed, as they start killing stuff, if we lose a head taker or a Terminator, we can have the Impulsors or Thunderwolves start tag teaming with the other unit. Like, once we're in, we're going to have options for the tag team.
Very solid. Yeah, so it's probably like Thunderwolves and the Wolfen try to go out and get a couple melee kills early on. And then on your go turn, you can even bump. The cool thing about this Saga, you can complete it immediately in the same fight phase and then get the benefit on the next activation.
Absolutely.
So like if you're going turn 2 or turn 3 and you only have 2 kills or you only have 1, you can kill 2 units or kill 1 unit and then immediately get +1 hit wound on the next one.
Yeah. And the thing I like about this is it only buffs Space Wolf units. Pretty much everything we have going into Space Wolf units. The Impulsors won't get the benefit, but the unit they're buffing will get it, and not getting the +1 to hit and the 3 Impulsor attacks isn't a big loss. The Predators don't get it, but we're trying not to have people get into the only things that aren't getting it are the vehicles who are like 3 attacks each, hitting them 4.
But they also help proc it for the Space Wolf units because they
that's what I'm saying.
Something.
That's what I'm saying. The Iron Priest will get it, so the few who don't get it doesn't really hurt us too bad. I just realized I like leaning more melee heavy in this attachment
because you get such a good melee buff really early on. I mean, you can trigger it as early as turn 2, and then your whole army gets +1 to hit and wound, and then they start really hurting.
You're waiting till turn 2. I'm triggering at turn 1, noob.
That's right. Yeah. Full send.
It depends on what you're fighting. Some World Eaters or something like that might be in. You might. There be situations, but yeah.
So Scout 7 on that Impulsor, Disembark 7 charge. You've got our Logan going for a 9-inch charge. You can just throw a 12-inch on a Thunderwolf, try to go for a charge. You know, there's a good number of ways you can get in early.
What I like that Scout for the Impulsor, because a lot of times, sometimes like, man, where do I get a good spot for this? But now you can pop it sometimes right there where people can see it, and gives you that little right behind like one of those little V's, like on layout 1 or something like that, where you can right in that little safe little hole.
I like that too. Another option, instead of like the second Thunderwolf squad, you could go like Reavers, who would maybe they go in the second Impulsor and the head taker squad just start on the board and they jump in. So it's Scout from the Impulsor, then they disembark, then they go charge something to just try to get the Saga early on. But either way, like
because Reavers can infiltrate or defect. So we could do that. We could drop the Thunderwolves for Reavers, drop the Infiltrators for Intercessors, and that's 40 points. That would give us a squad of Fenrisians.
Could do that, yeah.
Although they had 20 points floating. So that's an option in this list. You could run a Reaver and an Intercessor instead of Infiltrator and Thunderwolves, and then you gain a unit, which is also, you can get them as OC in ways, and they can sometimes kill a little skirmish unit and maybe help trigger some of the...
Right. I don't even hate like JPI instead of a Thundercab because or Wolfen. You know, maybe you trade that 5-man Wolfen. JPI, they move a little bit faster. They've got impact mortals and they'll kill something in melee. Dan's saying he loves Fenrisian reactive moves. I gotta try them out, man. I've not tried.
No, it's very nice. Yep. Yeah.
Quite nice.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I got in the Librarius video that's coming out later, I did earlier today, I built a unit that's got the reactive move in it from that detachment. Reactive moves are always nice.
Always great, man. Beastslayer, Stormlance, Lone Mop, Lieutenants, Fenrisian Wolves.
Yeah, that reactive move, you can either keep them safe or mess up people's charges, just be annoying, getting people's move block. There's lots of... They can be really powerful in certain situations if you don't roll the 1.
Totally.
All right. Well, that's it for Hunter. There's a couple options you could switch here, but I think this is a good core for the list.
Pretty solid. Yep.
So next up, we're going to be doing Gladius.
All right. I'll go ahead and read Gladius. Everyone knows it, so I'm just kind of skimming over. It's funny that we did this detachment last because it is the stereotypical Space Marine detachment.
Well, it's one of the reasons, because it's kind of like everybody knows. Let's do some of the new stuff, but
Exactly. So Gladius, at the start of your command phase, you can pick one of 3 doctrines. They all help you move and do something else. Devastator Doctrine, you can advance and shoot with all your units. Tactical Doctrine, you can shoot and charge when you fall back. Assault Doctrine, you can charge when you advance. You can only pick these once per game, but you can't always put a unit in a doctrine for a CP. Enhancements, got some decent enhancements. Artificer Armor, 2-up armor, 5 Feel No Pain. Always just 10 points, just very solid. Honor Vehement, this is also really great on a melee character. +1 attacks and strength if you're in Assault Doctrine, +2 attacks and strength. You've got Adept of the Codex, which is a captain model only. It's you can activate Tactical Doctrine and again, not great. Fire Discipline used to be an auto take, but now it just gives sustained hits, and if you're in Devastator, reroll advanced rolls. Not necessarily an auto take. Stratagems. The stratagems are amazing. This is we'll talk about it. This is a detachment where you're going to spend a lot of CP. So you're going to want a way to generate CP early. So we'll talk about Bjorn the Fell-Handed. Armor of Contempt, always good. 2 CP, fight on death for any unit. It's auto fight on death, it's no roll. This gets really good with units that don't really need charging or oath. I'm thinking of Wolfen and Wolfguard head takers. They always reroll 1s. They're usually pretty good in stuff they want to go into. So they love fight on death when something charges them. On to the chapter, Lance, and if you're in Assault Doctrine, +1 AP. This is the only way to boost AP in Space Wolves. But thankfully, we have a lot of AP2, some AP3. which is solid. We bumped AP, Wolf and Thunderwolves, some of our Terminators like characters and stuff like that. Reactive move, 1 CP, squad tactics, infantry are mounted, move D6, or if you're in tactical, move flat 6. Always really good. Adaptive strategy, put a 1 CP, put a unit in a doctrine. Storm of Fire, ignores cover in shooting, or if you're in Devastator, +1 AP. So this detachment does a bit of everything. It is very reliant on your CP. You're always going to put units in doctrines because you don't want to burn the whole doctrine. You're always going to want to add damage for advanced, like a Honor the Chapter or Storm of Fire. With that being said, I think the first unit that you put in this list is going to be Bjorn the Fell-Handed. He likes to advance and do stuff. He likes to fall back and do stuff. He gives you a CP. He's decently durable. Just an all-around unit.
Yep. Oh, he's a unit.
He is an absolute unit.
Yep.
The next one, I think Logan, it just helps win the CP economy, can take up a lot of board space.
Oh, yeah.
Logan and 5 Terminators, I think, are a staple in almost every Space Wolf list I ever build.
Yep.
Not different here. So with Gladius, it buffs everything. There's like 1,000 ways to build this.
Oh, yeah.
I think you want to go a good mix of shooting and melee. So let's talk about like what tanks you might want to run. So we'll start off with the tanks.
All right.
I think
are tanks good in Space Wolves, Aiden?
Tanks are suddenly a lot better in Space Wolves than almost everywhere else.
Yep.
So let's do a smattering of tanks. I'm going to take one of each because I think tanks are just really good in Gladius. They can fall back and do stuff, advance to do stuff. They can ignore cover, Armoured can tempt them. So let's do 1 Ballistus, 1 Lancer, 1 Predator, 1 Hammer Strike. I think those are just really solid units. Taking one of each, you kind of get a decent buff on all of them. Lancer's good at long range, doesn't need Oath. Ballistus doesn't need Oath. It's pretty durable. Hammer Strike strips cover, so you don't need to spend CP. Predator is just amazing in general. Quite solid.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just go ahead and take 2 Iron Priests to back them up. Iron Priests, like, they just are bread and butter. So I feel like this is the core of most lists that we're building. We're going a little more shooting heavy. Because we have so many tanks, I think it's fair to run a couple impulsors. Your opponent's going to have, I would say, at least one. So let's start with 1. Now, what units do you want to throw in Gladius? I really think units that love Lance, melee units that love Lance. So here's what I think likes Gladius. I think head takers really like Gladius. They love +1 to wound. So let's go ahead and start off with 3 head takers and 3 hunting wolves.
Oh, a unit of, I thought you meant 3 units of head taker. All right, I got you.
I mean, we might get there in the end.
I thought you were like, let's start there. And I was like, oh, okay.
So these head takers are going to be paired weapons. They are going to be the 3 hunting wolves. I think is going to be pretty cool because it gives you a screening unit really cheap. With OC, you could go throw it forward for actions, area denial, whatever it is. We're going to add a Wolfguard battle leader with the Honor Vehement. He will have probably a Thunderhammer and a Storm Shield. This package is 85 for the head takers and what is it? 80 for the Honor Vehement battle leader. It's 165 for like so much damage.
Yeah,
they can get advanced and charge. They can get Lance and +1 AP. They can fight on death. They just really love all of those buffs. They're really cheap. You can advance and charge them, throw them up, and kill a key resource really early on.
Here's a funny thought. I don't know if it's a good idea or not. But since you're running a 3-man, if you took a second 3-man with no character, it could fit in the same transport with them.
Yeah,
But I don't know if they're good without a character. So I don't know. That was just, I was like, man, you got 3 slots left. What's good there? But I don't know if that's good or not, but it's a possibility, but I don't know if that's good or not.
I mean, they're still pretty decent. They do need Oath, and they do like Lance. Let's talk about, I think, another big hammer. You want some hammer units. You have Logan.
Yes.
You got a couple skirmishers. I think a big hammer unit that you really love in Gladius is a 10-man of Wolfen with shields.
Yep, I was just thinking that.
Because let's talk about them for a second. They could either be really offensive. You can give them advance and charge, throw them 9 plus D6, go charge stuff, tie stuff up. Mm-hmm. But also they're really great at blunting a unit, blunting an army's melee. Imagine like Chaos Knights. Imagine like Death Guard, or imagine just like monster and vehicle heavy army that wants to run at you and charge you. This unit with the threat of fight on death is so scary. Like Gilliman behind a wall who's going to run up and charge your army. Well, all of a sudden these Wolfen fight on death, and they always reroll 1s to hitting on 3s. They always wound on 3s. So they're going to take whatever that's going to charge them with them. Like this unit of 10 is just can do quite a lot for them.
Yeah, you got fallback in charge. You got the fight on death, which they used to have naturally, and a feel no pain. Oh, Wolfen used to be so good, but they're almost back to what they were in this detachment if you use all the stuff on them.
Yeah, they like Lance too, in case you're not going into vehicles and monsters. So in case you're going to like elite infantry, they'll be wounding on 3s or 2s.
Yeah, that is the one issue with Space Wolf's melee is strength 5.
Strength 5. The Wolfen with Stormfield kind of fixed that because they have anti-monster vehicle 3+. Mm-hmm. Let's take some skirmishers. Thunder Cav or Claw Wolfen, you can't go wrong. I think, let's go with 2 units of Thunder Cav is just always an amazing skirmisher.
Yep.
We got 200 points left. What are you thinking?
All right, so you got something for your backfield?
So here's what I think you could do. Bjorn is going to want to sit back and generate CP. He does like okay damage, and he's not like as durable as he used to be. Mm-hmm. So he actually doesn't want to be in the middle of the fight until later on. I think what you can do is you can use Bjorn to sit on the home field, generate CP, guard the home field, and you can use the three head taker wolves to screen. I think that is actually a solid use of your time with Bjorn. And he can pop out still on his home field and throw down a las cannon, Helfrost down range. Late game, if you don't really need your home, or if you're done screening, you can start moving up board.
Yeah, and you could still just move the wolves so that they're in range of an Iron Priest and their OC in your home field.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You do want something to start in mid board. I think honestly, Lone Op Lieutenants is good, but let's just do something Gladius specific. I think a Gravis Captain with Artificer Armor could be very solid to just start in the line, throw him up as fast as possible.
Oh, you're running by himself?
Yeah, running by himself. He's
all right.
He's got this. He can Armor of Contempt or Grenade, or he's a T6, 6 wounds, 2 up, 4 up, 5 up, feel no pain, half damage. He's just very solid.
All right, so we got him. That leaves you 110 points.
I think you could do another unit of head takers with 3 wolves.
I was just thinking that's exactly 110 points.
And that would slot right into the Impulsor.
Yes, yep. So you have a second wolf squad to run around, and then now we have the second head taker and the Impulsor.
And then just do impaired mastercrafted power weapons. 3-mans just want to do as much damage as possible. Give him Lance, give him advance and charge.
Yeah, I already did the paired. They got paired mastercrafted, yeah.
You can use those wolves to screen, do actions, just do random stuff, tie stuff up,
Plating, subterranean assault or something weird like that just take up space to stop 6-inch deep strikes.
Totally.
What? I like it. You got your two big bricks, the Wolfen and Logan. You got a couple of little trading units between 2 Thunderwolves, 2 head takers, although they have a character with them, so they're not quite a big unit, but they're not quite just a trade piece. They're like one of those in between versatile pieces. I like it.
Yeah, quite solid. And with Gladius, you want to lean heavier into shooting. So you got 4 tanks with 2 Iron
Oh,
Priests.
yeah.
Plus, you also have Bjorn. So in case Bjorn doesn't need to screen your backfield, he can go up with start duking it out and shooting in melee.
Because we do have we have.
So you have
Ballistus, Lancer, Annihilator, and a Hammer Strike,
and Bjorn
2 Iron,
and the Impulsor.
Yep, and 2 Iron Priests.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so your shooting is going to be very scary. So you really can probably play a little more patient game because you can almost force them to come to you depending on the matchup.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I love the combination of those units. Iron Priest works with almost any vehicle, so you could, you could throw any vehicle on there. I could see an argument for Thunderstrike instead of a Hammer Strike because you can ignore cover anyway for a CP. But either way,
Yep. All right. Cool. So that's the Gladius list. We got the Hunter list. Librarius list is coming out later. And so that's it for all the detachments.
Wow. How many is that? 12? 13?
Let's see. I think there's 8. And then 3 in our book. And then the 1 Grot miss. Yes, I think 12. Yeah, maybe 30. Yeah, so I think 12, but it could be 13. I could be forgetting one.
So we've done all the detachments. Brian's saying Iron Priest wasn't stock on GW website. If you're looking for, they've been out of stock for a while. That's sick. Get some Iron Priests. They're amazing. They do everything. They're incredible.
Yep, I have some. I got some old 2nd edition Iron Priest still on new bases that are still running around doing the job.
How are you feeling about all the detachments?
Well, I think wolves can be good in any detachment. And next week we'll do our tier ranking, but the main ones, Gladius, Stormlance, Bold, Beastslayer, everybody thought they were going to be good. I think they are. Hunter thinks a slight step down, but it can be good if you play it right. I'm still not giving up on Champions Fenrir. After ATC, that's going to be the first thing I'm going to take to the RTT the next weekend, see what I can do with it. I don't think it's quite the power level of the others, but I think there's some really interesting things in there.
Ironstorm is amazing.
Ironstorm. I actually thought Anvil might do what you wanted in Firestorm a little better, just the way it buffed with wolves.
Wow.
And then First Company. I still like that First Company. I don't know if it's good. I think that's just more something that like tickles my fancy. So I don't know if that's really good.
And just being really,
well, like Terminators, if it works really good with Blade Guard. I wish Head Takers got that right keyword. So because I tried it before back with Head Taker with Blade Guard and Termies, and I liked it. But so we'll see. The fact that Head Takers can't really slot in there, probably won't do too much with First Company, but that always is lurking right at the back of my mind that just running a really heavy Terminator build.
Yeah. I mean, I love that you can lean into so many different aspects. You can go heavy Terminators, you can go heavy MSU, melee, you can go heavy shooting.
Yep.
You can go brick heavy, you can do a lot with Space Wolves, which is awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think this merits, we've done all attachment lists. I think next week, what do you think we should do? We have all attachment lists. We've gone through everything in attachments.
Yep, I think the tier list, the detachment tier list is what comes up next.
We are primed for a tier list. We've done a deep dive into every single detachment for Space Wolves. I think, tier list is the way to go. Oh. Brian saying, really want to run Beastslayer and Bold, a Twinkling of Gladius. Yeah. Dakota, what is Dakota saying?
Plasma Scepters, I'm putting in work in my Beastslayer detachment with reactive move and lethal hits. Oh. I was really on Inceptors before. That might be something worth looking into.
Lethal hits all the time. Deep striking 6. Yeah, reactive move. Oof. Choice. Quite all choice.
Right. I have to give that some thought. Yeah, because Inceptors, I like that 6-inch deep strike, even just for mission play, even if you don't get to do any shooting and stuff. But like
the threat of it too makes opponents play differently.
And built-in lethal, that's helped because sometimes wounding big stuff was their issue.
Yeah, lethals is great. They love that. Ooh, hello guys. Hope you're doing well. What's up, Craig? Good to see you. Just finished a game against Chaos Knights. You'll never make me change from Beastslayer. Wow, Beastslayer is amazing in the Chaos Knights. You get lethal hits everywhere, and you get +1 wound. Yeah, that is
Especially right now, because Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights are super prevalent in the meta in most places. I know they are around here. I think they are still up there in Virginia. They were when I was up there last.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah. Yep. So I mean, yeah, if you're in a vehicle knight heavy meta, which most places kind of are right now, if it's working for you, there's not much reason to shift off Beast Slayer.
Reactive moves. Yeah, I love reactive moves. I've been playing Stormlands for so long. It just is so much part of my game plan. Your opponent it just gives your opponent a headache.
Yeah. And Fenrisians, that's why I like Fenrisians, just like Dan said earlier, they have a built-in one, which can be super annoying for people.
Quite good.
Especially when you're playing attachment with some built-in. So like a combi lieutenant and Fenrisian wolves and a detachment that has a built-in, like they're just getting people, like they have to think so hard before moving, or like they have all these units just moving in their way and moving behind, like
it's quite a headache.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to point out that we have 20 unique data sheets. And I think in these lists, we've really made use of like 16 of them pretty well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's only 4, and I think the 4 are like the 3 dreadnoughts, Venerable, Murder Fang, Wolfen, Dreadnought, plus also maybe Njal. But I think you include him in a Librarius Conclave list automatically.
I had him in Librarius. I had him in another detachment. They're all blending together, but I put him in 2 or 3 detachments. Yeah, so the only thing I didn't put in any detachments, were the 3 dreadnoughts.
The 3 dreadnoughts. Yeah, and I could see Murder Fang even being put in a Wolfen-heavy list. If you're doing Stormlance or like Beast Slayer or like Hunter, where you're just running all Wolfen, throw in Murder Fang.
Oh, yeah, giving them the fight on death, that's a detachment, like Stormlance, just like all, like, you can run 60 Wolfen, 2, 3 Wolfen Dreadnoughts and Murder Fang. Send it.
Just like good luck.
Yep.
Throw them at the opponent.
Maybe leave I don't know about the 30 regular Wolfen, but throw on all those dreads out with good saves and all those storm shields out and just swarm and like maybe even back them up with Thunderwolves instead. Just send all those tough T6 or higher 4-up invul save bodies in their face and be like,
guess what?
You're not going to kill enough of it. And I'm going to be in your line.
Exactly. I think one thing that I'm realizing Space Wolves do really well is we have a lot of durable invuln units that are really tough. I don't think there's any other like Space Marine detachment that just has weight of 4-up invulns that are T5 -1 to wound, T6, T4 with 3 wounds. Like we can just throw so many.
Well, with the mobility we have.
Plus the mobility. Exactly.
Deathwing, you run a Deathwing list, you probably get close on the invuls and bodies and toughness.
Right.
But you're slow. You can't deep strike turn 1. You're moving 5 instead of 6. You don't have Thunderwolves. You don't have Wolfen. So just like there's a couple that maybe can get close in amount of units that do it, but they're slow. You can play around them.
Exactly. But these ones you have to deal with. Gosh, I feel myself like slowly gravitating toward the black hole that is, oops, all 4-up invulns in Stormlance that can advance and fall back and charge. I'm like, no, don't. I'm like slipping slowly toward that black hole of Wolf Jail again.
Oops, Librarian with Sternguard that for some reason also has a 4-up.
4-up invuln. Yeah, I love that unit.
And that's what you bring in turn 1 with Logan somewhere to shoot something with mortals that they're not expecting.
I wish you could bring in regular Space Marine units, but you can't. You have to bring in Space Wolf units.
Oh, right. It is Space Wolf. That's right. I haven't run any actual space.
Also, you know what? I think Grey Hunters could be decent in Gladius, either with Njal or Draxus, because they can get Ignore Cover +1 AP. They can get Lance and melee.
Mm-hmm.
They can fall back in advance and do stuff. They're pretty solid.
Yeah, I don't think Grey Hunters are bad. I think they're just slightly overcosted, which is their problem.
They definitely need to come down in points before I start including them.
They're at what 180 or 170 right now? I think
180.
I think it started at 190. They went down to like 160. All right, now they're at the same price point as Intercessors.
Think about them. I think about them as Sternguard. Like Sternguard are only 20 points more. They do quite a bit more damage because they have twin-linked mortals all the time against the Oath. They have pretty much same number of attacks. and you can add a librarian there for like an invul. So like,
Yep.
I would rather take Stern Guard over Great Hunters.
Yep. But if they got a little cheaper, just spamming that OC3 out there might not
OC3 could be really powerful.
Oh, yeah. I just wish we were the first people to ever get it, combat squatting. Wolves used to be able to do that before anybody else could. Everybody else was stuck at 10-man. Wolves be able to use a split. So I wish we had that ability. Yeah, make me buy 10, but let me split them into 5s. I'd be more willing to do that because I can send one out at a time if I need to trade.
Yeah, if there was like a Primaris Rhino that combat squatted, you could take one or two squads of Grey Hunters. Just have like 15 OC really cheap running around the board.
Yeah.
They do decent damage.
Yeah, because 40K is all about trading right now, which like it's a trading game for the most part. You either have units you trade or a unit that's just so hard to kill, you can push it out and they have to send enough that it's worth losing it. And Grey Hunters just aren't there. They're just really expensive, but they're still just 2 Wound Marine bodies.
2 Marine bodies. They do good damage into small and medium stuff, and they don't do any damage into big stuff.
Yep.
So
if they were 5-mans, I would probably put one in every list.
Yeah, totally. 5-mans, hold the home, go to an Impulsor, go with a character, reroll wounds with a character.
Oh, yeah. Outflank to a safe spot, rather than just running them with 15 OC onto something and be like, I'm just turning your primary off for a turn.
My one wish for Saturday, FAQ us till we can take 5-man Blood Claws and Grey Hunters. Please. The All-Father, please.
I think we'd have to show, before we get anything like that, I think we'd have to show a losing record, which I don't think we're going to show.
No. By the way, do you want to take a guess? What do you think our win rate's going to be over the first month?
Over the first month, I'd say 53%. If we hadn't had so much playtesting going up to it, people have kind of adapted to Wolves. We might have hit like that 60 if it had been like fresh out the gate. Everybody's learning it at the RTTs, but there's so much content out, so much playtesting, like that everybody kind of knows Wolves and has had chances to try to figure out counters before we hit the tournament scene because the way they did our release.
Yeah, people are going to know how to play Wolves. I think, you're right. For me, I think it's going to be 55%. It's still going to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
Just players are going to have a hard time dealing with the durability and speed and like melee prowess that we bring, and also shooting. Like it's just such a well-rounded faction.
Well, the one thing we have to consider is Space Wolves have been a very popular army for a very long time. So we're going to have people coming out of the woodwork that might not necessarily have the right tools to run all the right detachments or want to run the right detachments. So if it was all just skilled players running the best stuff, then I think we might get near that 60. But we're going to have some, I've been playing since 3rd edition guys who I haven't played since 8th, but the Space Wolves got new models and I'm here.
Are you saying, hey, you can't talk shit on those guys because we are those guys? You know what I mean? Like we're those Space Wolves.
But we haven't taken a break though.
Yeah.
The guys who are learning 10th edition and the new Space Wolf Codex on the fly, and it's a much more tactical trading game than it used to be. It used to be bring the big bricks, and I'm not saying they won't catch up to speed, but I'm saying those first couple weekends, the guys that are just coming back, it's a big learning curve from older editions.
Now that you mention it, I have seen a lot of comments on our YouTube, a lot of comments in Discord and the forums of like, hey, I'm coming back to Space Wolves after a hiatus. The new models, the new codex brought me out of the woodwork. Like I have seen an influx of people saying that. So I think you're right. I'm curious, like on a scale of like armies to pick up, how easy do you think Space Wolf is to pick up if you've never played Space Wolves before?
Depends on how familiar you are with combat armies.
Right.
If you know the combat tricks, setting up charges, how to do your pile-ins, I think you'll do really well with Space Wolves, especially if you add an Iron Freeze or some shooting behind it, because it's just a combat army that if you know how to do all the tricks, if you're coming from a more shooty background and you're learning the combat tricks, it's a little more of a learning curve.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I think it's just a well-rounded army. It does everything pretty well. It shoots hard, it's durable, it's fast, it hits hard. Like, it's not like a super tricky army like Drukhari, Eldar, GSC. It's like just a pretty good well-rounder. So I think it'll do decently for newer players or players that haven't played Space
we have a
Wolves.
lot of good durability, and with Logan and Bjorn, if you're running them, we have CP and we can shut down people's CP. So it can be a forgiving army just off durability right now if you build it correctly. No, it's the hardest army to play. If we win, it's because we're the best players ever. Aiden.
We're the best players, actually.
Yes, ever.
If anyone plays Space Wolves that jumped on the Space Wolf train,
we're gentlemen of culture, okay?
Yes. I mean, I talk shit. I've only started Space Wolves in the last 3 or 4 years, so.
Yeah, but you came in pretty hard. You converted everything. Like, you put a lot of work into your Space Wolf army.
And the new models, man. This is the first time I've ever not converted models because they're so gorgeous.
Who was it? Was it you or someone else that had the 8-bound Wolfen that was showing?
That's me. Yeah, I'm just finishing up painting some Shield Wolfen that are 8-bound with Wolfen bits, and they are just
I have my roommate possibly stealing some of that because he's building Space Bears. Because he's got bear tattoos. Like, he's always been bears, but he likes Vikings. He's a big Viking guy. So he's like, well, I want to do this. And he actually been talking about it for probably 5-6 years doing it. Then with the new release, he's like, you know what, I'm doing it. So
yeah,
he didn't want to run just regular Wolfen. So I was like, I saw this really cool. They're bigger. They look more like a bear than a wolf. So he might try to piggyback off your idea.
Dakota's saying, love me some Space Bears. Yeah, I think was it Dakota who was saying in the Discord that he plays Space Bears. There's player in the Discord.
Someone was playing it. Yep. I can't remember. I don't think it was Dakota. I think it was someone else. But yes, someone was saying they played Space Bears.
Yeah.
And I saw actually on YouTube someone was doing a battle report with Space Bears. I sent that to my roommate too because you're not the only one. Because some guys at the local stores were giving him crap for doing it. I was like, no, Space Bears are a thing.
They're
you're
so
not
cool.
the only one. Yeah. Well, cool. All right. Any other questions or thoughts or anything from anybody? Anything you want to add on to, Aiden?
No, I've been playing a few games this week with Gladius. Stormlance. I've been trying out Stormraven because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
I still don't think it's super competitive. Having fun with it. I'm actually #humble brag, but I think I've won 7 of my last 7 games with Space Wolves. They're just starting to. I've had a number of close games, but it just seems like my opponents haven't been able to catch on yet.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're just having that Logan in the middle in a tight game and just taking all. They only use half their tools. Oh, you have 2 CP? Cool, you're doing 1 strat. Oh, you have 3 CP? You're still doing 1 strat.
Yeah. Space was saying Njal and Stormlance. Yeah, so Njal with Grey Hunters can just put out so many shots that reroll wounds in Stormlance. Mm-hmm. The cool thing about them is they can go in a repulsor, they can go just starting on the board.
Well, and another weird thing I thought about is you lose the shooting, his assault ability and stuff, but a flat advance 6, he can join head takers and Stormlance. So you always going 13 inches and charging,
which is pretty cool. I mean, you probably
I'll put them in the Impulsor. Now you're going 16 inches guaranteed in charging.
Pretty amazing. You can also start them off the board with Grey Hunters and then bring them in. Turn 1, start shooting stuff, and then move up 13. They can advance and shoot and charge. They have assault. So now they're putting out 70 shots, rerolling wounds.
And he can join Blood Claws, right? So really, in any detachment, him with 20 Blood Claws are always advancing and charging because Blood Claws have that built in.
Yeah, I don't even hate him in Beast Lair.
No,
because they get all the lethals and +1 to wound.
No, that's where I think if you take 20 Blood Claws, Beast Slayer is the place to do
with
it.
With Njal, because they would auto 13, they go charge stuff, they tie up everything, they can then react to move in Blood Surge, they get lethals, they can get +1 to wound, even if they don't charge. Yeah.
Yeah, we just have so many options of character, and Njal kind of gets left behind, but he's not a bad character. You can put him in place of a battle leader or Ragnar or something, and it just slightly changes the playstyle, but it's not necessarily bad.
Same thing with Ulrich. Ulrich is a solid character. He gets +1 to hit and wound most of the time. And yet he gets left behind because we have such good characters.
Mm-hmm. It's a good problem to have. Yeah, you could take them in those units, and it's still better than the combos most other people can put together.
Ragnar, even, he's an amazing character, and yet same problem.
Well, Ragnar's in almost every one of my lists just because I like that it extra
He's so
advance
cool.
in charge. Well, because I don't Stormlance, so it's like in bold I have 1 advance in charge. Ragnar gives me a second free one, which is why in some lists I may end up putting a Bloodclaw unit in if I drop Ragnar, because I just like having at least 1 to 2 options of advance in charge.
Advance in charge, a threat, especially because we get the +1 move in a transport, out of a transport.
And even though he still doesn't go up to strength 8 anymore, just coming out of that with 10 attacks from Ragnar, just at neg3, just people don't necessarily care for that.
I do have to mention, I am listening to the Ragnar series for the first time. Space Wolf, Ragnar's Claw. I'm on Ragnar's Claw, and that I'm like really starting to love. The lore of Ragnar.
Yeah, well, Ragnar is the reason I got into 40K. Like my shop teacher played 40K, and he built terrain and stuff. And you could call GW; they'd send you a white dwarf and 2 models. So my first white dwarf I got was the Space Wolves versus the Tyranids, and Ragnar was in it, and that was it.
Wow.
I found my local store, went and bought the 2nd edition starter set. Like I was in.
My lists are probably going to have to start including Ragnar.
Yeah. But now you don't have to, because the Battle Leader and Wolf Priest are so good, and they can all join the Head Takers. And what was it in Hunter, where we got him up to 7 attacks on the charge with a Thunder Hammer for the Battle Leader? Like, I mean, there's no advance in charge there with that unit, but
he's hitting on 2s, especially +1 hit wound, reroll 1, sustain, dev wounds.
I guess you could stick him with Blood Claws, and then he's advancing and charging and doing that. Yeah, so there's also I always bring Ragnar just because he's my favorite, and I just like that advance in charge. But there's like other than Logan for the Vect and Bjorn for the CP, everything else is like interchangeable. And Arjac just because him and Logan are the only 2 options for leading Terminators. But all these other units have like 4 or 5 characters that are good that can join them.
What if you could? If the FAQ came out Saturday, you can join regular Terminator characters to Wolfguard Terminators. What do you think you might do? Would you start running maybe like a Librarian for sustained, Chaplain for +1 to wound and mortal protection?
Possibly the Captain for the reroll charges and the free CP.
Yeah.
A free CP really on top of Bjorn, and like that just really gives you options.
Oh man, imagine him in bold. It's 1 CP -1 damage or 1 CP heroic.
Or the Chaplain built in +1 to wound on top of, because that's the one thing we sometimes lack is Lance, like in +1 to wound all the time. So the Chaplain or the Captain would probably be my option.
I like the Captain too, because free rapid ingress, or even you bring him in because now he's a Space Wolf keyword unit. On turn 1, he gets a free reroll charge, like with his ability. You know what I mean?
Or even they do the rapid ingress free turn 2. You know, like just anything. Yeah, it just saves you CP in something where we're like. So now you can do whatever you want strat wise for the most part.
Totally. Wow, I'm excited to play Wolves, man.
Me too. I'm so like I love ATC. It's a fun event, but like it's kind of killing my vibe for it a little bit. The fact that I have to take old Wolves.
I know.
But it'll be fun to hang out with the guys. But dude, if I was playing new Wolves, I'd be so hyped for this weekend.
So good. Yeah, Chaplain in the Terminator stand saying does everything.
Yep.
Oh. We'll see if there's an FAQ that changes things on Saturday. If not, we're still in a really good spot. I'm loving.
Yeah, I think as strong as some of the other books, Thousand Suns, Death have been, I don't think they're going to mess with Wolves because the meta is really strong right now. So I don't think Wolves are like out of place.
Not at all.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Aiden, thank you once again for being on. And next week we'll do the tier list. Librarius list is coming out Friday, and that'll be the end of our detachment series. And then we'll be on to other stuff.
Yep, absolutely. Great having you. I mean, great having me.
Well, thanks for having me, Aiden.
I'm the captain now. I'm sitting in
the captain's seat. Yeah. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for watching Almost Functional Gaming. We appreciate the support of all followers of Russ and the Allfather. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, check out our merch store and Almost Functional Score Tracker on Amazon. Everything helps support the growth of this channel, and we appreciate it.